Do you know that you can move to United Kingdom, that is UK, within 3 months through the charity worker visa route? And with this, you don't need any IELTS, you don't need any English test. And also with this, you can move with your dependents, you can move with your wife or your husband and your children. Now, if this is what you're looking for, in this video, we are going to do in-depth discussion on the charity worker visa. And also, I've done videos on some companies that recruit through the tier 5, that is the charity worker visa. And these companies give free COS. So, without wasting much of your time, let me take you to the gov.uk, that is the official government website. We are moving straight to gov.uk to have the discussion. Now, this is the charity worker visa, that is the temporary worker visa. So, the charity worker visa is also the temporary worker visa. Now, you can apply for the temporary worker, that is the charity work visa, if now these are what they are saying. You want to do unpaid voluntary work for a charity. Now, if you want to do a voluntary, that is a volunteer work in the UK, you can get sponsorship and you can move with your family through this opportunity. Now, you meet the other eligibility requirements. Now, let's look at the eligibility requirement. But before we do that, I'll come to the eligibility requirement for the charity worker visa. But let's move on. This visa has replaced the temporary worker or the charity worker visa, which is tier 5. All right, so now we have the um, charity worker visa, that is temporary worker visa. Now, this is a sponsorship visa. You must have a certificate of sponsorship from a licensed employer before you can apply to come to the UK to work. Now, with this charity worker visa, you need to get a job offer from a licensed employer who is a charity worker or who recruits volunteers. Okay, now the work you do in the UK must relate to the work of your sponsor organization. So the work that you are going to do in UK will relate to the company that gives you the sponsorship. Now, how long it takes? Now, let's look at how long this visa takes. You can apply for a visa up to 3 months before the day you are due to start work in the UK. So you can move to UK in 3 months before you start work. This date is listed on your certificate of sponsorship. So the dates that you'll be starting working will be specified by the employer. As part of your application, you will need to prove your identity and provide your documents. Okay, now let's look at this. You may need to allow extra time if you need an appointment to do this. You will find out if you need one when you start your application. Now, getting a decision. How long does it take? Once you have applied online, so this is an online application that you'll be doing, provide proved your identity and provided your document, you will usually get a decision on your visa within 3 weeks if you are outside the UK. So if you're outside UK and you get COS for a charity worker, within 3 weeks you must get a decision of your application. And if you are in UK and you want to switch, then you will need 8 weeks. You may be able to pay to get the faster decision, or you can also pay to get the faster decision through the priority. All right, now let's move on. How much it costs? So let's look at the cost involved if you are going to apply for the charity worker. Your partner or children would each need to. So as I said earlier, with this charity worker visa, you can move with your dependents, either your wife, your husband, your children. You can move with them. Now pay the application fee, pay the health charge, which is usually 1,035 per year. So if you are moving with your dependent with this one visa, with this visa, you need to pay the health charge as compared to the skilled worker visa for care workers, which it has been exempted. Now, prove you have enough personal savings. Check how much in the eligibility requirement. You go to that. Now, application fee. Now, if you are going to apply for the charity worker visa, the application fee is £298. The fee is the same whether you are applying from within or outside the UK. So if you are in the UK and if you want to apply for this, you pay the same as a person who is outside UK. Now, how long you can stay? Now, let's say you're outside UK and you had a job offer from a UK employer as a charity worker. How long are you going to stay in UK? You can stay up. You can stay for up to 12 months or the time given on your certificate of sponsorship plus 14 days whenever it is shorter. Okay, so you can live in UK and work as a charity worker, volunteer job for 12 months with extra 14 days. You can enter the UK up to 14 days before starting date of your job. Now, what you can and you cannot do. Now, if you have watched the video up to this point and you have not yet subscribed, like, or share, please kindly do that for me. Now, let's continue. Now, study. Now, with this visa, you can study. For some courses, you will need an academic technology approval scheme certificate. So you can study, work for your sponsor in the job description in your certificate, and you can also work for your sponsor in the job description in your certificate. Do a second job in the same sector at the same level as your main job for up to 20 hours per week. And then you can also do the same job, that is part-time job. You can do a second job working for others for 20 hours per week. Now bring your partners and children. The good thing about this visa route is that you can relocate with your family. Yes. Then you cannot do what you can do if you move with the charity worker visa. Receive and payment for work. Receive any payment for work. You can't receive payment, but you can receive some stipends. Okay. Take a permanent job. You cannot take a permanent job. Get public funds. You can also get public funds. So these are the things that you cannot do. Now let's move straight to the eligibility criteria for the charity worker visa. Now let's look at the eligibility. Now to be eligible for the temporary worker, that's the charity worker visa, you must one have a certificate of sponsorship reference number from your UK employer. Now when you get the sponsorship, it will come alongside with a sponsorship number which you will be using for your application. Now have enough money to support yourself in the UK. You will usually need to have at least, now, this is the amount of money that you need to have, okay, to support yourself in the UK. That's £1,270. Okay, £1,270. That is what you need to have, unless you are exempted, unless your employer decides to give you everything. Now, be 18 or over when applying. So you should be 18 or more than 18 years. You cannot get this visa if you were given a religious worker or charity worker visa in the last year. So if you had this type of visa within the last year and you are going to apply, it won't work. Your employer must make sure your job meets UK employment law. So the job that you are going to do should meet the UK employment law. Now let's move on to the certificate of sponsorship. A certificate of sponsorship is a unique reference number that holds information about the job you will be doing and your personal details. It is not a certificate or paper document. Now, certificate of sponsorship, that is COS, is not a certificate or paper document, but this is just a reference number that your employer will be giving to you. Your sponsor will give you the certificate of sponsorship. Your sponsor must also give you information they used on your certificate about your job. For example, your working hours. So the employer will send you all these details. Your sponsor must be recognized by the UK government to issue certificate of sponsorship. So your sponsor also should be one of the accredited sponsors or licensed sponsor to bring overseas workers to UK. All right. Now your certificate of sponsorship is valid for 3 months from the date it is assigned to you. So the moment that you get your certificate of sponsorship, you will have 3 months to apply for your visa. Okay, that is the validity, 3 months. Now, if the 3 months pass, it means that it should be invalid. Money to support yourself. You must have at least 1,270 pounds in your account to show you can support yourself. So this is how much you should have in your bank account, like 1,270 pounds in your bank account. Now you will need to have had the money available for at least 28 days in a row. The day 28 must be within 31st day of applying for this visa. So these are some of the things that you should know about the charity worker visa. Now I have done video where I shared companies that recruit through the charity worker visa. So you can watch that videos and apply for the job opportunities there. And if you are lucky, they will give you the COS and you'll be able to move to United Kingdom through the charity worker route, and you'll be able to go or move with your husband, your children, or your wife. Thank you for watching this video.